For the majority of people, playing a video game is about getting to punch, shoot, jump, flip, and just do all kinds of crazy stupid shit you can't do in real life. But my favorite video games were always the ones with a creative, engaging story. That's what always mattered to me. It seems like a very hard hobby to have when it's so goddamn rare for any studio to put out a game with an actual decent narrative. It's no surprise that Naughty Dog is my favorite game studio, with Rockstar being a close second because of just Red Dead 2. Most of these games aren't very gameplay heavy. Uncharted is mostly a handheld experience. Red Dead 2 also feels like that in contrast to so many more gamey games out there. And The Last of Us? Well, 2013 was a year that set a new standard for storytelling in video games. The Last of Us and GTA 5 allow players to experience games from an actual, fully fleshed out character's perspective, something that happens so rarely, if ever, before. Most characters you come across in video games feel very one-dimensional and like shells instead of actual human beings, whether it is a protagonist or a supporting character, which makes it so hard to care about anyone. So already, the bar is set very low. Then 2013 comes, and we meet this Joel, a 30-something-year-old single dude with a teenage daughter. He's a seemingly happy man with this little life he has going on. Then, this happens.
Jimmy, I am warning you! Don't!
After the outbreak, a soldier is ordered to shoot this family of father and daughter for no good reason. And Joel loses his daughter as a result. Jump forward 20 years, we meet the real Joel, a broken, empty husk of the man he was 20 years prior, a survivor. After going out with his partner to recover some of their guns some dude stole from them, they meet up with Marlene, one of the leaders of the Fireflies, which is a group of rebels, who gives them a proposition. In exchange for a simple smuggling mission, she could get them all the guns they want. And that's when Joel gets to meet Ellie. On the surface, The Last of Us is the most cliché zombie game with the immune character that is the key to finding a vaccine and ending all this torment. Sounds simple, but that is not at all the real story of the game. Through his relationship with Ellie, Joel gets to feel a new hope. As he progresses through the story and we experience that as the player with him, going through setback after setback after setback with Ellie and slowly bonding, you start to realize this game isn't about saving the world, it's about saving Joel, a man who spent the last 20 years of his life murdering, stealing, torturing, becoming a monster, who finally starts to come back to life through his relationship with this child. And that's when you realize, wait a minute, this plot is familiar. Loses loved one, gets old, goes on a quest with a child that helps him find new meaning for life. This video game's just up. But no, you are wrong, my friend. This game is zombie up. Eh? Yeah, well, as I said before, the bar was set so low that even blatantly copying a movie would work. But what makes The Last of Us different, even better in some ways, is the interactivity factor. Joel is a violent man, and as we go through the motions in this game and experience this with him, we don't just get to see the monster he is, we become that monster. What makes The Last of Us different from a game like Uncharted is the gameplay coinciding with the narrative. In Uncharted, you mow down hundreds of enemies and beat up and murder everyone in your path, but for no reason, no actual reason that correlates to the story of the game. The Last of Us, on the other hand, tells you no. You kill because Joel kills. Joel kills because he's a violent psychopath who will go to the extremes to achieve his goals. But as he and Ellie become closer and closer throughout the seasons, after taking down murderers together, saving each other's lives, hell, Ellie kills her first human while she's trying to save Joel's life. That bond they go through gives Joel that feeling again. That feeling that he hasn't experienced even for a second over the past 20 years. The part in the finale when they meet the giraffe is just pure magic. There's barely anything said, and yet by the end of that scene you know, Joel will never let Ellie go.
We don't have to do this. You know that, right?
What's the other option?
Go back to Tommy's. Be done with this whole damn thing.
So, when the ending comes, and Joel is told that Ellie must die in order to save the world, there is no choice. A lot of players might have played that ending and questioned themselves while committing those horrific acts, but in the end, you are Joel. And over the past few months, Ellie became #1 priority, and he couldn't let her go. So, you can't let her go. And Joel commits one of the most selfish acts any human in history could have done, just for this little girl that meant nothing to him a few months ago to live. The irony is, Joel was probably afraid of losing his humanity again and losing Ellie. Except that to save her, he had to commit the most inhuman acts imaginable. The acts that would haunt him over the course of the rest of his life, and would spread over to Ellie in the second game as well.
No. Just take him.
I'm not trying to.
I was supposed to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered. But you took that from me.
Joel, please get up.
The Last of Us is not a crowd-pleasing game. It will break you down to your core and devastate you, make you question things. And yet despite that, it is still one of the highest-selling games on the PS4. Power of Naughty Dog, am I right? On the beginning of your quest, you expect to kill zombies, have fun doing so, and maybe experience an entertaining story as you go through it. But it's not until the ending when you realize just how carefully this story was layered, piece by piece, to give that final emotional explosion. And that's when they hit you with the most bittersweet climaxes that leave you with one simple question in mind. Was it worth it?